Hi, my name is Tagrid Ahmed, as most of you know me as Mama Ghanoush. Today I'll be making some recipes for Ramadan. The first dish of the day is Namoura, which is a delicious semolina cake soaked in sugar syrup. So to get started, the first ingredient would be semolina, which is coarse, also known as smeared in Arabic. The second ingredient is Greek yogurt. We'll be also needing some sugar, some sliced almonds, some flavorless oil, and some coconut. So here I've got equal amounts of water and sugar, and I'm going to add my sugar now to my water, and we're going to mix this and cook over low to medium heat for about 10 minutes. Also to this, I'm going to add a squeeze of lemon, and this helps ensure that there's no crystallization as the sugar syrup cooks. So we're going to cook this for about 10 minutes or so, then we're going to turn off the heat, and here I've got some rose water which I'll be pouring in at the very end to give it a delicious Middle Eastern twist. This is one of my favourite Middle Eastern dishes. I remember as a child my mum realised that I would just pick up the edges of the pan because they were nice and crispy. So over time she would pick the edges and she would hide them aside for me so no one would eat them, as she knew that they were my favourite bits, and now they're actually my kids' favourite bits, and I do the exact same thing. My syrup has now been simmering away for about 10 minutes now. I've turned off the heat, and now I'm going to mix in my rose water, give that a bit of mix, and we're going to set this aside now to completely cool down while we get onto our cake batter. Now I'm going to get onto my cake batter, which is the semolina mixture. To start, we're going to add our coarse semolina to a bowl. I'm going to add some desiccated coconut to this, some sugar, some flavorless oil. Here I'm just using some canola oil. This recipe can be found on the Recipes for Ramadan website, and just a little bit of vanilla extract. Also, I'm going to be adding some Greek yogurt. I'm going to start off with about 1.5 cups. Mix, and then if I feel like I need a little bit more, I'll add the rest. So nice and clean hands. If Nigella Lawson can do this, I can too, with no gloves. So we're just going to mix this together, and we're looking for a thick but wet batter. Now I've mixed up all my butter. It's nice and thick and moist, just how I like it. Now don't worry if it is too moist. We're going to rest this, and the semolina will soak up some of that moisture. My batter for my Namoura, or basbousa as other parts of the Middle Eastern world would say, is ready. It's nice and thick, and as you can see, most of the moisture has been soaked up by the semolina, and now I'm ready to start putting it into my baking dish. So here I've got a round baking dish, and I'm going to brush some tahini paste on the bottom and all around the edges of the baking dish, and what this does is it gives the semolina cake a nice nutty flavour, and it helps the edges caramelize. And now it's time to place the batter into our pan. Now this isn't a traditional batter where it's thick and runny. It's quite really thick to work with, so I'm going to use my hands, dip them in water, and kind of pat the batter into the pan. We're going to flatten this out as much as we can into the pan. Dip your hands into water when needed, and just continue patting the batter into the pan, pushing it out to the edges, and you want to ensure that there is room on top of the batter so when you pour the sugar syrup, it doesn't overflow the pan. A bit more syrup to make it more syrupy, I guess, and you would eat it with a fork. This way is the way my mum taught me, where it's more of a dense cake, and you can pick it up with your fingers and eat it. It's time to now cut my Namoura before it goes into the oven. What I'm going to do is dip my knife in some oil just to help that it doesn't stick, and I'm going to cut this into diamante shapes or squares, whatever you like. I've cut my Namoura now. It's ready to place our almonds on top, and it only made sense to bring my son Taha in today. Come on, Mama. Because this is also one of his favourite desserts, and he's going to help me place the almonds on my Namoura. You want to start, Mama?
Yeah.
Okay, so place the almonds in a diagonal kind of manner in each box.
Okay.
Do you want me to help you?
Yeah.
So are you like Mummy? Do you like the corners just as much as I do?
Yeah.
So the Namoura is now ready. We're going to place this in a hot oven until nice and golden, and then we're going to pour our sugar syrup all on top. My Namoura is fresh out the oven. It's still piping hot and nice and golden. I'm just going to cut over the original cuts, and this ensures the syrup soaks through evenly. So I'll just do that. Now we're going to pour the syrup all over the top. Now it is going to look like it's a lot, but that's fine. Over time it will soak through. Yum. So we're just going to leave this for about 15 minutes or so to ensure the syrup soaks through. It is better if you leave it longer. I'm going to decorate with some coconut and some crushed pistachio and some edible rose petals. So you want to do the pistachio, Mom, and I'll do the coconut? Do it as I'm doing on each line, just sprinkle. Good boy. I hope you enjoyed recipes for Ramadan. This is my Namoura and Sahten.